I'm live. Hopefully this is working. I wanted to do an actual stream. That's probably very loud. It's right next to the mic. I wanted to do an actual stream for, this. But I quickly realized, even though I wanted to do this now, I don't have my streaming software set up for the YouTube. So that would have been a whole other chore, and I didn't feel like it. So there. Where should I start? All right, let's start with the concept of this stream. The concept of the stream is that I have 4 different whiskeys in front of me. I actually made a thumbnail for this thing, and then the stream didn't want to work. So the idea is, what's the difference? Irish, Japanese. I want to say bourbon, but this might not technically be bourbon. I forget because of the mesquite charcoal refinedness. But American and Scotch, even though this is a blend. So I just picked the 4 kind of variations, we'll say, of the whiskey that I have on hand and try to figure out what the difference is, because honestly, with my mental problems being what they are, it's been very difficult to do any kind of tasting anything because depression sucks. Let's be perfectly honest. It is ruining my enjoyment of whiskey, and 2020 needs to be over, basically. I should do the other stuff on here. The weird thing about streams is you have to keep talking, even if you're not sure who's here or if anyone's watching at all. I'm going to see if I can remember how to share this. How do I share this? There we go. Post this everywhere, and then I will get started, whether anyone's here or not. And I have about 5 different places I have to send it, so that's fun. So this will be the exciting part, if anyone's watching this in the replay. Share content. I don't remember where everything is on here. I'm trying to look at Discord. There we go. I should point out this is basically a exaggerated reason for me to drink a bunch of whiskey on a Friday night also. And I'm going to be very careful not to drink too much because that's bad. Don't do that. Drink responsibly. That's the word. I didn't just try to post something without anything being there. This is probably a very loud keyboard. Oh well. I'm sure you won't mind. And if you do, I'm sorry. That's a fine thumbnail for an impromptu stream. That was everywhere. There's one thing I find funny is the amount of people who like watching streams and interacting on YouTube. They probably have no idea what a pain in the butt it is to set up properly and advertise on all the places. Like, I haven't done it on Instagram or anything. I probably should, but I'm gonna do it on a few of the places I know of, and then begin, because it's exhausting. And I already have low energy, honestly. That's the main problem. I did, Travis Fuller. Thank you. I just did. If anyone shows up from there, great. I got my shirt on. Well, I think it's backwards because cameras are weird. I wonder if I can fix that. That's going to annoy me now that I've noticed. Unless it doesn't look backwards on the stream. I don't know. You tell me if everything looks backwards to you. Like, does that say bourbon or does it say Noburuob? It's backwards to me. Mirrored. Oh, it's frustrating. But again, like I said, impromptu stream, sort of. I've actually had these glasses sitting in front of me for days, but I haven't had the energy, motivation, drive. Cool. Maybe it's just me. I hope it is, because having everything backwards on a stream would really annoy me. But get down to it. Someone's here. I'm glad you're here, Travis. Thank you. I have 4 different whiskeys here. I mentioned that at the beginning of the stream, but I'm trying to remind myself of what I'm doing. And I think I had some kind of thought process here. They're all at 43%, except for the last, not the last one, but the Irish. Yeah. I tried to keep these around the similar alcohol percentage, thankfully. But see, Irish, bourbon, or American. What's this actually called? This is a problem with bourbons. I want to just say bourbon, but it might not be just bourbon, because it says Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, oak and Texas mesquite charcoal refined. Definitions are fun. Let me do this right. Here we go. That. You're going to hear a lot of bing clanging noises because I'm not graceful. And I'm actually just at my desk. I wish I had an actual setup. That'd be cool, but I don't. Focus. Irish, Japanese, we'll say bourbon, and Scotch. What's the difference? That's the general idea of this. But more importantly, this is so I can not have to edit this. I wanted to do a tasting of sort, but I realized editing it would be exhausting. And I really don't have the energy for that, unfortunately. But also, you know what? No. This is also a bottle down ceremony for some of these. This will be the second bottle of these I've finished. For those who don't know, in the tribe, you bottle down like that, and you hum It's Raining Men. There's a reason. That's one. This is the exciting part. Suntory, Hibiki. Very nice. Very nice. Ooh. I'm going to do a little of this one because I know this one's, well, it's a Japanese whiskey, and Japanese whiskey has been very popular recently. This is also the one that came in a box, so that makes it probably more expensive. I don't remember. I bought it last year. Now, other than the concept of this being at least a vague idea for people new to whiskey, such as myself, even though I've been drinking whiskey for 4 years? I want to say 4 years now, give or take. I still consider myself a noob. I don't think I can polish that off. I want to, but I know that's a lot. I'll pour a little bit and then see what happens. Oh, and if you hear a TV or yelling, that's my psycho neighbor. She's, to say she has issues. And unfortunately, the walls are paper thin. Good, look at that. It's gonna drive me crazy. I keep wanting to get to the point I'm trying to make, but I'm also trying to do 2 things at once. Brain doesn't like that. Oh, this one is very full. I actually haven't had any black bottle in a while. So, I have in front of me, in this order, Irish whiskey. Specifically Rowan Co., which is 43%. This is a blended Irish whiskey. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. Actually, I think they're all blends of some sort. Maybe. Again, impromptu. I didn't plan this very well. Yeah, the Japanese, a blend. Ugh. That's the scary thing about doing something live. If I broke one of these bottles live, oh, I'd be so angry. This one probably isn't, but this is something slightly different. I'll give it that. Yeah, the charcoal refine is, or the mesquite charcoal refine is the only thing that's different here. Is this a blend of something? Is it just Wild Turkey's main mash? I don't know. That requires research and a lot of other stuff. But I think the one thing I want to make with this channel clearly is that I'm a fan of the whiskey tube thing, but I'm also someone who tries to do whiskey tube stuff. But professionally, am I doing this? Oh, I don't think so. I think the idea is just to hang out and talk whiskey. That's the thing I like about it most. So the problem is trying to have organized thoughts when doing this. I've already gotten 11 minutes in, and I'm like, we're set up. Now what am I doing? So Irish, Japanese, bourbon, Scotch. What's the difference? Let's try to get to the point. I personally have been having a very hard time this year with my depression, and with it being 2020, it's real. My senses are muted. It's harder to taste and smell things, and all in all, that sucks. Let's just get that point out of the way. So because I've been having such a hard time and been so down on myself about, not tasting things as well, not smelling things as well, having a rough go of it, I decided to do this, which is a test almost. And also, more importantly, since I'm bad at tests, it is a way to help others, I hope. It's a vague idea. Help someone else by helping yourself. That's a thing, right? First, I got to nose all these. And the hardest thing I'm having lately is getting the differences. I feel like I'm getting a lot of the main thing is like, you know how your taste buds have general, like, sweet, salty, umami is the new one. There are two others, I think. Sweet, salty, umami, bitter. I feel like there's one more. Sour? Sure, that sounds right. But for me, trying to smell this has been very difficult because all I get is sweetness. I know what it is, which helps. And I like it. That's about all I get. It smells sweet, and I know I like this whiskey already. Part of why I put all of it in here, because I had to finish that bottle. There's a hint of alcohol, but it's not too bad. And I want to say it's flowery or perfumey, maybe. And the one thing that's often said with Irish whiskey is that bread and butter kind of thing. Biscuit cookie. Spicy is one. I don't remember if that's all the tongue stuff. Anyway, that's an Irish, and I think it smells sweet. This one is Japanese. What do I think? Honestly, it smells more like a Scotch to me, which is not surprising. Because if you don't know the history, Japanese whiskey came through Scotland, basically. It's a wonderful little bit of history. I don't know it all. I just remember the story is good. There was a Japanese man who went over to Scotland, married a Scottish girl, came back after learning how to make Scotch, and tried to sell it to the Japanese people. They didn't much like it. So he had to change it, and he worked with someone else. End of history lesson. This one does have almost like a tartness or a tang of some sort. I almost want to say sour, but that doesn't seem right. Now, again, this is to help the fact that I'm having trouble smelling stuff overall. But I can tell the difference. You know, I can tell that, you know, not only because I know what they are, but they're distinct. And I think that's the important part. This one feels like it's opening up my nostrils. Like, oh. And it seems much more fragrant and flowery than the other one. So I want to do just a smell comparison. Ooh, sorry, that was probably loud. Yeah, now this seems muted. All right, let's keep going. And then I can start drinking these things. Where am I? Bourbon. Okay, this is gonna smell super sweet. Ooh, it doesn't. I should admit I've never done one of these where it's completely different things. You know, ever. I think I've done that with tasting stuff at a a whiskey tasting or something. I might try different things, but never so purposefully. So this is actually a new experience to me overall. Oh gosh, I'm not getting anything off this. Okay, I do smell the sweetness. It doesn't help that this was like the last of that bottle, wherever I put it. Like, I'm worried it oxidized for too long because there was only a little bit left. There's still only a little bit left. I'm very tempted to pour all of it in here, but again, I have 4 whiskeys in front of me. Not a good idea. I can't even smell the mesquite. I know it's in here too. Not only because it says it on the bottle, but because I remember, drinking most of that bottle. Oh my goodness. This is what's so frustrating. When I get to one where I know what I should smell and I'm not smelling it. There's only a hint of that mesquite. And I'm only getting that by thinking of like barbecue or something. Last one. Good grief, this is weird. I think I know why people don't do this very often. It's blowing my brain. This one smells a lot like the Japanese one, and I know there's a peatedness to this, but I'm not even smelling it at the moment. I'm still thinking mesquite. Oh, brains are weird. That's weird. Granted, I also haven't had Black Bottle in probably over a year. Sorry if the birds are loud too. I keep forgetting they're there. That's background noise to me. I have no idea if it's picking up on the mic. Granted, there is definitely a difference between each of these, but going between them is weirding me the hell out. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Because the last one, I know it was Black Bottle, and I know it's, a peated whiskey. It's a peated blended whiskey. But it doesn't smell half as peated as it should. And that's extremely frustrating for me personally. And again, part of the reason I'm doing this is because my mental health has been a bit bad in 2020. And it's messed me up a lot. And I don't want to lie about that. I don't want it to ever seem like I'm falsifying my reviews. It's actually been very difficult. And I've noticed the decline over the past, 7 months, is that I've had more and more of a problem sipping and tasting the whiskey in what I feel is a meaningful way. So I don't want to discredit myself, but I also want it to be understood why it's gotten more difficult. Now, what I'm going to do is the same thing I've been doing with my videos is when I have a hard time, there's a way for me to help myself with this thing I use, Whizzky.net. It's an app. I'm not getting paid to say that. I just use it. Again, I want that to be clear. Now, the first one I have is Roe & Co. Irish blend. This will actually tell me more about it, too. Woo! It's got quite the nose profile. It's got the wrong ABV, though, unless this is a different bottling. That's the one thing that's going to bother me is if I read something on the bottle and then I get to the website, it's totally different. So for the nose profile on this, I'm going to smell while I'm looking at this. Vanilla, of course. That's almost expected. Vanilla digestive biscuits, which is an Irish thing or an English thing. Sweet. Hey, I got that one right. Butter, milk chocolate, cream, licorice, cereal, wheat, candied fruits, pear, oily, I didn't smell oily, medicinal, and sponge cake. So that's the nose profile, the general nose profile for this. I can almost think of the sponge cake. Okay. That's the Irish. That's more of the nose than I was getting, other than, sweet and buttery. And the licorice one bothers me because I've had Petit. I could look at the bottle, but I don't want to now. Absinthe. I find that to be very licoricey. If you've never had it, it tastes like black licorice. It's very similar to. My brain doesn't work anymore. Jägermeister. To me. It doesn't mean it definitely is, but to me it is. Next one. What was the next one? Hibiki. Harmony. Master Select? Oh gosh, which one is it? No, I'm going to say Japanese Harmony. Master Select sounds much more expensive. Nose profile on this is very small. Vanilla, new wood, sandalwood, and honey. No, not to me. At least not right now. It smells much more like a Scotch to me. It has... What bugs me the most is when there's something strange about it. Like it's an odd smell and it feels like an old memory of something weird, but I have no idea what it is. I always call it a funk. I feel like I have a better memory of smells that are more like places. Like this is kind of making me think of a musty forest near a river or something like that, or a pond. Bizarre. Okay, so that's the Hibiki. Now we have to do the Bourbon Wild Turkey Long Branch, is it? Yeah, taking forever. Nose profile for this one. Vanilla, brown sugar, caramel, lemon. Allspice and oak. The lemon's in there, which is bizarre. I might have called it a citrus. What's even more frustrating is I know these are changing as I'm letting them sit here without a cap on them. And for the last one, we have the black bottle. Doesn't look like that. It's odd. This one says nose profile is fresh fruit, peaty, oak, and smoky. There's a little tinge of smoke to it now. But I would never say it's peated. I'm thinking of like Lefroy and the big boys that are back there. So frustrating. As you can understand, anyone who's a whiskey lover, imagine having a condition that it messes you up so bad that you're not sure what's what. Like you can't enjoy your whiskey like you should. Drive me crazy. But we'll get through it. I have to keep telling myself that trying to do tasting notes and smelling in whiskey is what helped me kind of crawl out of my depression. But, this year's been rough, we'll say. All right, now we're going back to the Irish. I've gone back to Roe & Co. But we're going to do the taste now. And I don't think I'm going to taste much at all, unfortunately. That one's 45%, by the way. The rest are 43. It was actually more difficult to find a 43% Irish. Well, it tingles a lot. It tastes like burning, but not in a bad way. I feel like I've been sent right back to the beginning, and that's frustrating. I've been trying to figure out a good way to describe what this is like. It's kind of like a disconnect between your senses, but also the easiest way I could think of it is if you've ever had Novocaine, like from a dentist, it's the kind of feeling when Novocaine is wearing off. You can kind of feel things and taste things a little, but not like normal. And for that one, I'm not even sure what I tasted. It's nice. I don't hate it. A little bit of sweetness. I want to say it's kind of reminding me of butter. And more as a texture thing, though. That's just not surprising. Since I don't know what the heck I'm tasting as well as I want, the flavor profile here says vanilla, pear, medicinal, spicy, and oily. I don't know if I'd use the word spicy. I'm getting too many sensations. It's like the tongue in my mouth just stopped working almost. Ugh. Infuriating. Again, why I haven't been doing videos. I've been getting whiskeys too. I have videos. I have whiskeys I want to review, but because of this thing, I feel like I wouldn't be doing it justice, you know? Frustrating, as I've been saying many times. Next one, the Hibiki. I don't know how long this is going to take. Shouldn't take me that long, but we'll see. All right. Again, I'm getting the basics by smelling it. But then again, also the nose profile we got was pretty basic as well. I don't hate it, though. Oh, I remember to do that. Even if my taste buds are screwed, I can't even taste the water. I definitely did something different. Mouth noises, those are fun. Huh. I kind of like that more than the Irish, oddly enough. Oh, and the burn. I can feel the burn at least, so that's good. The flavor profile for this is, well, the official one? Or should I use the, I'll use both. With the website I'm looking at, that helps me along here. There's a wheel that is a, I guess, user recommendations. So if like you're a person like me or someone who's into whiskey, you kind of plug in what you taste, and it gives that little wheel. It says orange, citrus, vanilla, and honey. I would agree with those. I don't know if I want to say vanilla, but they're very, very citrusy kind of thing going on here. The smell keeps changing. I don't know if that's just because it's sitting out or what, but, and I, again, I'm having trouble here. Yeah, there was something citrus about it and kind of flowery. When I first took a sip, it felt like I was eating a flower, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but okay. And for the official overview, before I forget that, the taste is honey-like sweetness, candied orange peels with white chocolate. I would never have guessed white chocolate in that taste. It's nice, though. Now, what I'm hoping is this next one's going to seem very different to me, but I need a new tongue. You can also imagine my frustration when I have a YouTube channel that's supposed to be whiskey tube related, and I can't do it. I mean, I can, but I don't know if it's informative enough. But again, I'm telling myself, I understand that taste is subjective. And right now, during 2020, I think we're all having a hard time. I'd like to think that eventually I'll be able to get something to assist with this, like this weird disconnect I'm having between taste buds and smelling. There is, of course, the concern that it's COVID related, but since I don't feel sick, I'm hoping it isn't. And also, I've been this way for 6 months, like ever since this year started. I've noticed a decline in difficulty. Long range. Hold on. Get distracted. I do feel like I'm repeating myself a little, but I don't know who's showing up and who's staying. I want to make it understood why I'm doing this, especially live, other than I don't feel like editing. All right. I don't want to look at the taste yet. Long Branch. Sweet. It smells sweet. Ooh. I can tell it's got more barrel tannins and stuff. That's more of a, again, a sensation. Like I felt the... You ever have wine, dry wine, where your tongue gets kind of dried out? That's what that just did. Can I taste it very well? No. But it does seem sweet, as best as I can tell, and it does have a wood note that's much more pronounced than these two were. And again, these are both blends. This I don't think is, but again, I didn't do any research on it because that's not what I want to do. I want to drink the whiskey and experience it as best I can. Caramel, vanilla, sweet, citric, and oak are the flavor profile for the wheel. The official taste, caramel, pear, and hints of citrus round out the palate. I'm really getting citrus, but again, I'm doing some kind of blasphemy, I think. But I'm not sure. In my recent memory, I don't know of many whiskey tubers who will go, let's get 4 completely different whiskeys and try them all together. It's bizarre. I'll give you that. But I'm glad there's a noticeable difference, except for this last one, which we're going into now. The black bottle does not smell like I remember it, which I know is partially me and my ill mental health at the moment. And I feel like part of what I want to do with the channel and overall is, since I can't taste as well as I would like to, I might have to put more stuff out that's more... It's like drinking whiskey and enjoying whiskey, but also talking mental health kind of stuff, because it is very real in my life. Unlike many other whiskey tubers, something specifically I've noticed is most other whiskey tubers, this is a hobby that they enjoy. This is pretty much all I can do when I can do it. And a big difference is, of course, they're often stable. Like, I don't think any of the people who do whiskey tube out now are I hope they're not suffering. Maybe a few of them are, but you know, they have apartments or homes and walls of whiskey behind them. They are fine. I have these because I had a credit card and was an idiot for the past 3 years. Slowing that down as best I can. But again, mental health problems, impulse buying, Amazon is evil. Not that I bought any of these on Amazon, but you know, impulse buying and what's it called? Shopping therapy? Yeah, that's a thing. I'm going to be weirded out by this last one. I've already looked at it by accident. Saw the word honey. Smell doesn't seem the same at all. Ooh, the taste though. Good. I can still recognize a peat sensation or taste or whatever that was. And that was much more pronounced than I thought it was going to be. So that's good. That's good. But I know, especially at the beginning of this year, what was most frustrating for me was I went to a tasting of these expensive whiskeys and paid a lot of money to buy just samples. I couldn't really tell, which was infuriating. Flavor profile wheel is honey, smoky, oak, peaty, and caramel. Peaty, yes, and kind of sweet, weirdly enough. Caramel, maybe. I don't think I drink water in between those two. Maybe that's why it seems so severe. The official taste, bold and full, with slight honeyed sweetness, followed by delightful smoky flavor. There's a bit of a weird ashy feeling in my tongue now. I'll give it that. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, of course. But if you want to try a smoked Scotch or a peated Scotch for the cheap, I recommend a black bottle to anyone because I think it's like $25 around here, maybe more in America now because of the import tax stuff, but it's fairly cheap. So, and I know Lefroy can get up there if you're looking at the wrong ones. I know Select isn't too expensive. But anyway, back to this. One thing that's hard to do is the finishes. That's another thing. It's like nose, flavor, finish. And that's how tastings are supposed to be. The finish of this is definitely, what I say, ashy or smoky, leathery. Here it's smoky, oak, caramel, and leathery. Really just kind of dried out my palate, or my tongue. Feels weird. That's bizarre. All right. I gotta go all the way back to the beginning. So the question I have to ask myself is, why do I know the difference other than the fact that I just poured them? They're all in clear Glen Cairns, and what I thought about doing is just shuffling them around, but I'm realizing the Irish one is much more full, as is the black bottle. So I don't know. That might just be a giveaway. Let's do this too before I forget, because I'm good at that. Let's do one of these. This is the Irish Rowing Co. We're looking at color at the moment. Actually, can I do that? Oh, no, it shows up better. Trying to have like white behind it, the wall. But really, I feel like just holding it up to the camera does it justice. That's actually pretty dark for an Irish in my mind. The Hibiki is noticeably light. And I have no idea, what's in there, or how many blends. For the bourbon, it should be, you know what? That looks a lot like the Hibiki. Hold on. Yeah, this is safe. The color right there is actually pretty similar. And when I think of bourbon, I think of a amber color, much more closer to this kind of color almost. But this is the Scotch. So I'm already throwing myself off with the color difference. What I'm thinking of doing is switching them all around and then seeing if I can tell what's what. But I have no way to tell which is which. I don't have anything on the bottom of them to know. But I didn't figure out which one I seem to like most, which is also a thought I had. But I don't know. I want to say I need input, but I don't think there are enough people in here that can get an input. And also, I still have this very full. This is the sweetest smelling one, too, the Irish, which is funny. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, there is a butteriness to this, the feel of it. And I can tell it's sweet, but holy crap, is it difficult. I'm wondering if it's part of my problem is not only my depression being as bad as it is, but also the inability to focus or think on one thing for very long. Just trying to it's the Rowan Co. I finished off the Rowan Co. bottle again, so I know it well. I know I like it. This is one of those videos that's gonna be very weird because it's like watch someone smell a bunch of glasses for who knows how long. I barely tell anything with the bourbon for some reason. And the last one still smells more like a normal unpeated Scotch to me, which is bizarre. Is it bad that part of me wants to mix all these together just to see what happens? That seems like a terrible idea because I know some of these will not blend well. All right, we'll do this. I'm just going to shuffle these around. I know the Irish is the fullest one, so that's going to be a dead giveaway. But I'm going to try and figure out if I can tell the difference if I don't know the order as well. I'm not going to fool myself if I'm... I want to do a completely blind tasting, but I can't because I'm the only one here, and I haven't done any labeling. I think that's something I have to do at some point. I know. Let me... The thing is, I'm worried that since I'm so off in just tasting in general, I can't say if I'm going to get anything that I'll like more or hate. You know what I'll do? I'll get 2 glasses, which will have a logo on them, so I'll know which is which. And I'll do a weird blend of each, but I'll try to do something what I feel might be safe. So 1 second. Worst thing you can do on a stream is stand up and walk away. But, oh well, I have plenty of glassware at least. So what I'm going to do, just to see, is I have the whiskey vault glass. And I'm going to put 2 in one of those. And I have the drink more bourbon glass. I'm going to put 2 in one of those. So the safest thing for me to do is I'm going to use, at least I'm assuming the safest thing I can do, is put sweet with sweet. So I'm going to mix the Irish and the bourbon, and I'm going to mix the Japanese and the Scotch. But I think anything that gets mixed with the Scotch is going to get overpowered just because of the fact that it's peated Scotch. But the idea is Japanese whiskey is connected to Scotch, so that's the closest I could think of. Let's try it. And proportions, I have no idea. So a little bit of this, a little bit of this. This is going to be weird. I don't think I've ever done this. Oh, it's going to be weird. Ding. Sorry. I have no idea how loud it is. All right. See, it's bourbonite glass. Can't really smell anything. If I were to say anything, it smells like a clean glass. There's a little sweet tinge to it, though. This could be horrible. I hope not. Oh, hold on. Oh, wait. I switched these around. Hold on. I think this is the Irish. I don't want to have those out of order. I would say it didn't improve anything. It's not terrible. But again, we're going off the tastes of someone who's having a problem with their tastes. I'd say it's more... I think the bourbon took over, kind of. I get more of the feel of the wood and that tanniny thing at the end, even though I mixed Irish in there. And it made it... I don't want to say more watery, but something seems different for certain. Now that I blended them together like that. And again, we're going with, a splash of each, because I don't know what that's going to do. Try the other one. Only a little bit of the Scotch. Oh, that was a horrible sound. Glass on glass. Okay. And now for a bit of the Whizzky, which may be a horrible thing to do because I forget how much this costs. Now I have lots of glasses I need to clean. It's all your fault. All right, what am I thinking of? I got the feeling of being outside again. Doesn't smell bad, from what I can tell. But again, we're having a problem. It's the whole reason for this whole stream is the tastes are screwed, and it's very frustrating. What? Oh. Okay, from what little I could tell, I tasted the peat right off the bat, and then I got sweet again. That's a little dry at the end. Not bad, though. Thankfully. I mean, I was very concerned that these would taste absolutely horrible. All right. We have to try this, of course. I'm putting the whiskey glass, bourbon glass, pouring this into this to see what happens. Again, the proportions are weird. We've mixed all four together. So what happens when you mix Irish, Japanese, Scotch, and bourbon together? It's flowery smelling and kind of that perfuminess, as near as I can tell. So I want to say I'm getting more of the Japanese whiskey, which is surprising. Doesn't smell bad. The right thing here. Huh. Well, taste buds are still screwed up, clearly. But that seemed like it flattened out. As from what little I can tell, and again, the proportions or whatever, I know that with blending, if you do too much, nothing sticks out. And that's kind of what it feels like happened. Like I blended them all together and they just kind of muted each other out. I can still tell about that weird ashy feeling at the end, which might just be the Scotch taking over at the end there. But again, it doesn't taste terrible. No. Going back to the Irish. Oh, yeah. The only good thing about this is that there is clearly a difference between the four. But I certainly feel like it would be much more obvious if I were feeling better. Because what I'm trying to prove in all of this is taste itself is subjective, but it's suggested because everyone has a different brain, pretty much, and different, nose, different tongue. But what has been said by others is mood is very important to a tasting and drinking whiskey. If I were drinking like an actual whiskey sample tasting at a big event with, I had to dress up fancy to go there or something, I'm sure I would have a very different experience, even if I wasn't in the best mood. It would be a different experience. But if I were handed a shot glass at a bar and said, here's your whiskey, a cheap dive bar, I would also experience that whiskey differently. One memory I have specifically of a whiskey, and this was back before I was even into whiskey, was at a bar in downtown area for me. And I was meeting up with an old friend, an old flame, actually, after years of not seeing them. And it was just nice to talk to them. And I remember we had shots of Jameson, and I remember taking the shot and being like, oh my gosh, that's incredibly smooth. Because it was. The one thing I remember about it was definitely Jameson, but it didn't burn. Normally with shots, you get that shot back, and you're like, oh my gosh, why? I'm trying to let it sit a little bit. The other problem with whiskey is these are all slowly evaporating. So as I'm trying to tell what's what, they're changing in front of me. I should put caps on them, but, impromptu tasting, so to speak. Again, I wanted to do some kind of tasting like this, but I didn't have the drive or motivation to do it. Yeah, the blend seems muted, other than a little bit of peatiness and leaving my mouth feeling a little ashy at the end. I put you aside. Go back to the beginning. All right. The whole point of this is to see what the difference is. And I'm still getting weirded out by this one being the bourbon. Although I'm not sure anymore. That's what's starting to bug me. As I poured these together and put them down, I'm not sure if I put them back in the correct order. This one I know is the Irish, only because it's more full. There is a bit of a... Let's say I can taste the alcohol on that one. And that might just be because it's 45% on an Irish. And I like higher proofs. So I know that's the highest proof out of these four. Oh, God damn it. How do people do this? Remember to drink in between. Blah. Still feels something on my tongue. I think this is the Japanese. But I honestly can't tell. If that is, it tastes very different. bourbon. I don't know, though. Wait a minute. Yeah, I've got them all mixed up now. Although, the only thing I got going for me right now is that might be the bourbon, only because I mixed the Irish with the bourbon. Yeah. Okay. So, that wasn't planned, by the way. That was completely accidental. When I did the blend, I put the two glasses next to each other that I was going to mix. So I switched these two on me, and these two happen to be the bourbon and the Japanese. And this one definitely smells different, but god damn, if I could use my words better. Yeah. It still feels like there's a horrible disconnect in my head. And I'm definitely going off more feeling than like actual sensation rather than taste, because my taste buds feel so off. And I can't even say feel off. It's just it's not the same. It's like having, what's a good example? Okay. This is also a way for me to try to describe mental illness to people. It's not easy. Ow. So think of something you enjoy. Like, we'll say the easiest examples I can think of are something that's regular for people. So the way you have a coffee in the morning, or your favorite dessert, or even your favorite meal, something you have locked into your head, where you go, oh yeah, I like that, and I know it, and it tastes like this. Imagine one day you had that thing, which you're so used to, and not really tasting it. So when you sip something and you know what it should taste like, or eat something, it is not the same. You can tell what it is, you know how it tastes, but you're not experiencing it the same way. That's the best way I can describe what's happening with me as of late. Whether it's due to my depression or just 2020 or both, that is how this feels. I can get a sense of what's what, but it doesn't feel the same. Again, the feelings are muted, is the best way. Or, the easiest way to say is depressed, but that also doesn't feel right. And but there is one thing I want to do before I forget, since we're going on about an hour of me rambling away to myself. I had a good one here. There's a way to describe depression that isn't quite just making it sound terrible, although it's not great. We have different versions of it. We have a depression, and a depression. Oh, and a depression, of course. All right. The best one I can see here for depression: a reduction in activity, amount, quality, or force. Now, that is not the best description for this one, but as far as experiencing something, but a reduction. Something is less. Something isn't as good, I suppose, as it normally would be. The official diagnosis here is a mood disorder marked especially by sadness, inactivity, difficulty in thinking and concentrating. Something you do when you're sampling whiskey. Significant increase or decrease in appetite and time spent sleeping, feelings of dejection and hopelessness, and sometimes suicidal tendencies. Thankfully, I do not have those too much. I have the usual, is it better if I wasn't here? I like to think it isn't, but the brain is a weird place. I like to think people enjoy having me around, and part of why I do the streams is, one, just because, or to do any kind of streaming or video, you want to feel appreciated, but you also want to feel like you're doing something. And the most of this is for me at the moment, is trying to get the differences here. It's also so others can understand that this is not as easy as it seems, but it is still something that can be enjoyed, even if you're not, an expert. And really the idea that I like the best is just sharing whiskey with people as friends and companions. And a tribe of people, so to speak, which is why I enjoy Whiskey Tube so much. All right. One last time, I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then at the end. That's the Irish. Sweeter, and it has that alcohol ting to it. I think that's Japanese, but now I'm not sure anymore. That's definitely the bourbon. Ooh. This is weird drinking them back to back. The bourbon tasted much more pronounced. Like I could tell the barrel note. And not because of the taste, of course, but more of what it did to my tongue. It was more a physical thing. Ooh, that's weird. A little bit of peat on there. A little bit. And might as well do this. This is the Whiskey Vault one, the blend of all of them. I doubt it's gotten any better. Oh. It's dancing on my tongue. Actually, not bad. It feels like it came more alive. But then again, I also drank all 4 of them in a row and then had the mix. So that might be something. Definitely feels tingly on the tongue right now, which is funny. Well, there you have it. What's the difference? The difference is not only how you experience it, but also there are noticeable differences that I can tell even when I'm having such a problem here. The main thing, of course, that anyone would need to know as a new person is that, Ireland, Japanese, American, and Scotland. Those are 4 distinctly different places. And they do have very different tastes. But my concern is if you gave myself these blind, would I be able to tell the difference as much? I was happy that the accidental switcheroo, because I could definitely tell the Japanese from the bourbon at the very least. What I've been wondering specifically, though, is my nose messed up, or is my tongue messed up, or is it just both? I've told myself it's both because experience is the thing that's being muted. And I've actually, the one good thing I've done over the course of the past year is get a DNA kind of test thing. And they found that there are specific genetic mutations in my brain that, as I understood it, I need about twice the good to feel the same way that people normally feel who are in a generally good mood. So think of it as, I guess, endorphins or positive chemicals in the brain I need more of that than most people would just because of this weird mutation that I have. And if I, like last year, I was feeling really good, but I was also using cannabis like full time. I had a little bit of that today. It is medicinal. I use it for that reason only, hoping it would help. And it probably did to some extent, but not quite as much as I'd wanted it to. I still feel like this is extremely difficult, but I'm doing a workaround with the online resource I have, and I'd like to believe that by doing this, I am opening the door to others who are not as certain. Like those people who think, "Oh no, it tastes like alcohol or it smells like alcohol." I get that, I really do. It is very hard to get some notes out of this, but I think the idea is to experience it with others, if nothing else, just have that experience. And I guess I'm going to go out with the blend because I realize I've gone over an hour. Most streams are an hour and then you stop. So we'll go with that. I do have a lot of whiskey to finish off, so I'm probably going to go on the Discord now and talk to other people because that might be a good way to do a Friday night. A little hangout. Maybe stream stuff on Twitch. I do that occasionally. But until next time, this has been Brian KIllco, trying to work with my own palate and understand whiskey as best I can. And I encourage others to do that. More so in an online setting nowadays, but it doesn't hurt just to try a bottle if you're curious, or a sample actually. If you can get those little sample things, nips, I think they're called sometimes. Do that first. Don't buy a whole bottle like I did. I did that with a lot of these. And though I don't feel like I've bought anything that was terrible, I just look at this and go, wow, 2020 sure has me drinking a lot of whiskey, and there's no way I can drink all of this by myself. So until next time, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome. It's Sláinte. This is the blend, so I don't know how weird this is going to taste. Not bad.